Hello. Real quick, do you think these two trucks look alike? How about these two trucks? So those brands of trucks are not affiliated in any way, and they kind of look alike. And that's basically what Tesla is being sued for. Nikola Motors is suing Tesla for $2 billion for stealing their design. In my opinion, most trucks kind of look alike because the form follows the function. There are a lot of rules that trucks have to go by that cars don't, and it kind of molds what the shape of the truck will look like. You have a maximum amount of weight that you can have on each axle. And the rear of most trucks, if they're trying to be aerodynamic, is designed so that the air can flow around a standard drive-in trailer. So Nikola Motors is suing Tesla for $2 billion based on Tesla's market cap jump after the Tesla Semi unveiling. So let's go through a timeline of how these events happened. In December of 2015, Nikola files for patents for a Class 8 truck. In May of 2016, they unveiled their design online, and they tagged Tesla in the picture on Twitter. At that point, Tesla hadn't announced any plans to build a Class 8 truck. 2 months later, in July of 2016, Tesla announced Master Plan Part 2, and they were in the early stages of developing a Class 8 truck. In July of 2016, Tesla announced that Jerome Gillen would be in charge of the Tesla Semi program. For those of you who don't know, he was the Model S program director. He also led the development of the Freightliner Cascadia. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Freightliner Cascadia, it is basically the F-150 of Class 8 trucks. It's the best-selling Class 8 truck, and it's not really close. In September of 2016, Tesla tries to hire Nikola Motors' chief designer. They attempted to hire him. They didn't actually hire him. And they already had a very capable person leading their program. Okay, still in September, later that month, Electric reported that Tesla had hired several engineers from Daimler's Supertruck program. If you aren't familiar with Supertruck, it was a Freightliner Class 8 truck that got an equivalent of 12 miles per gallon, which is almost double what normal trucks get. In December of 2016, Nikola had their Nikola One unveiling. They also mentioned in the lawsuit that by April of 2017, Tesla still had no design patents for the Tesla Semi. Also in April, Tesla released their Tesla Semi teaser image, the one that just showed the front of the vehicle. Another thing they mentioned in April, Torque News posted a story about the Tesla Semi with a picture of the Nikola One next to the Tesla logo. Now, in the lawsuit, they don't actually mention any confusion between the Tesla Semi and the Nikola One. I think this is more so a confusion of the company Nikola Motors and Tesla. They do happen to be named after the same person. And I think that's something that Nikola should have taken in consideration before they filed this lawsuit. On October of 2017, we got the first spy shots of the Tesla Semi. It was out on the flatbed, looked like it was in the desert somewhere. One month later, Nikola Motors sent Tesla a letter about the similar design features. Later that month, in November, we had the Tesla Semi event. 1 week later, Tesla's market cap jumps $2 billion. And that is how they came up with the idea of suing Tesla for $2 billion. That number doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because it assumes that Tesla's stock price went up only because of the Tesla Semi, and it completely excludes the fact that they unveiled another vehicle that day that sort of stole the show. They also don't mention that 1 month before the Tesla Semi event, October 17th, Tesla had a market cap of $48 billion. So Tesla's market cap did jump $2 billion after the event, but it still hadn't recovered from where it was a month before the event when it was $48 billion. So let's look at Nikola's design patents. We can go over the 6 that they mentioned in the lawsuit. The first one is the Wraparound Windshield. They describe it as a unique feature in the trucking industry, but it has been used on other prototype trucks before. I would imagine the only reason it hasn't been done yet is the cost. Like the truck I'm in right now has a divider in the windshield. Just in case I get a chip in one side, you would only have to replace that side instead of having to replace one big giant windshield. So both companies have the wraparound windshield, and they both mention it as a feature for visibility. But I felt like Tesla spent the majority of their time talking about their windshield because it could survive a nuclear explosion. The second patent they mention is the mid-entry door. It's described as a first in trucking. Tesla also has a mid-entry door. But if you look at the pictures of the Tesla Semi, I feel like this is more out of necessity than a design feature. So remember, in the Tesla Semi, the driver is sitting way in the center of the truck and way to the front of the truck. So basically, if it were to have a normal door, you would have to step over the steer tire and way into the truck just to get in the driver's seat. I think the driver being in the center and toward the front is key to their design because they wanted the truck to be shaped like a bullet. Now, I think if the Nikola One had the center seat layout, I think they might have more of an argument about Tesla stealing their design. The next thing they mentioned was the fuselage. The only thing they mentioned was it was aerodynamic and it has a continuous line from the ground all the way to the roof of the vehicle. I feel like that's broad enough to cover just about every cab over that's ever been made. This is one line from the bumper to the roof of the vehicle. The next patent they mentioned is their fender. Nikola says their front fender is distinct and Tesla copies the design. I personally don't see anything distinct about their fender. It looks just like the fender of a truck that I was parked next to the other day. Another patent they mentioned was the side cladding. They didn't really go into details, but I don't see anything that stands out with the Nikola One's side cladding compared to any other truck within Aero Kit. In the lawsuit, they said Tesla's infringement has harmed Nikola's ability to attract investors. I think the Nikola One will do really well with long-haul routes, and I think the Tesla Semi will do really well with local and regional routes. Another thing that they mentioned was that the similarities between the vehicles will cause confusion and harm to the Nikola brand. I feel like that's something they should have considered before they tagged Tesla in their initial unveiling on Twitter. I think the thing that's causing the most confusion is the fact that Nikola Motors named their car after the same guy that Tesla named their car after. And they both just happen to focus on electric vehicles. And they also go on to talk about how they don't want to be confused with Tesla because of the vehicle fires that Tesla has had in the past and the autopilot accidents. But this is something they should have taken into consideration before they named their company Nikola Motors. I feel like a lot of people know that Tesla is named after Nikola Tesla. And for them to name their company Nikola Motors, they were kind of asking for it. So that's how I feel about this whole lawsuit. I think it's going to get thrown out. I don't think it's any good. Sorry for sweating so much. It's hot in here. Once again, I gotta have the windows up because there are a lot of trucks moving around right by me and they're making a lot of noise. if they were Tesla semis, it would be quiet and I could have the windows down.